Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christopher Daniels, and this is your 5-Minute Ministry Monday, your weekly dose of irreverent spiritual humor where I take a topic and then deliver a sermon about said topic in 5 minutes or less. Now, for this week, I have to apologize because I'm running super behind. I had one of those really crazy days. Like, my day had a schedule, and my schedule had a schedule, and that schedule was filled with task chores and to-dos and classes, agendas, and meetings, and they all kind of swirled together, and 16 hours later, I'm not quite sure who I am, where I am, and what just happened. But I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to share and connect with you all about something that I feel pretty strongly and passionately about. And it's the phrase thoughts and prayers. And in light of recent events, horrific tragedies, and national mass shootings, this is a phrase that's used quite a bit. And it's used so frequently that individuals are having strong reactions to it. And I'm one of those individuals, and I'm going to share how I feel about it. I've got 5 minutes on the clock, which is great because at this level of delirium, I am likely to just continue chatting. So I need something to cut me off. So 5 minutes, here we go. Last week, something pretty amazing happened. On Wednesday, students all across this country stood up and walked out in peaceful protest about something that they feel very strongly about: the right to feel safe and secure at their educational institutions. That our leaders take conscious and compassionate action and address the epidemic of gun violence that this country is experiencing. And it is always inspiring when young people stand up for what they believe in. And I'm excited to see the direct action that will result because of their action. Now, when these tragedies happened, as I mentioned, there was a phrase that politicians and community leaders used, and it was thoughts and prayers. And it was used so much that when I looked at protesting footage or I went on Facebook, people were quite upset. Their feeling was that thoughts and prayers are completely and utterly useless. They're not going to bring about the change we want, the reform we want, the legislation that we want, so it's useless, so don't even say it, and I can tell you where you can shove your thoughts and prayers. And I have mixed feelings. I completely understand and get it for a number of reasons. Often it feels when individuals say thoughts and prayers, it's a little bit inauthentic, because I wonder, are you actually taking the time to sit in stillness and quiet and think about the enormity and the gravity of this issue in this present time and moment? And are you actually engaging in prayer? And what is it that you are praying about? Are you praying that the victims and families have an alleviation of pain? Are you praying for our leaders to take action? Are you praying that it never happens again? What is it that we are praying for? And perhaps that confusion and ambiguity and lack of unidirectional mission and action is what's causing frustration. I also understand that perhaps there are no words. Perhaps there's not a correct or right phrase. So thoughts and prayers becomes the go-to, like attending a funeral and saying, "I'm sorry for your loss," because you really don't know what to say. I also understand that when individuals use the phrase thoughts and prayers, it's perhaps a way to sidestep ownership and responsibility. It's a way of not offering a solution, not offering a plan, not offering a strategy, and it's your way to avoid follow-up questions and coming up with a decisive plan. But for me, as a disciple of Christ, as a spiritual individual, I know the power of thought and prayer. Prayer is one of the most powerful tools that we have in our arsenal, but it is just one tool, and it is not an endpoint. Sometimes we don't know what to do, and we're plagued by inaction, and so thoughts and prayers is all that we have at that moment to offer, and at that time, maybe that's great. And there's a time for thoughts and prayers, but there's also a time for conscious action. And my mentor, my teacher that I follow is Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ didn't stand at the sidelines. Jesus Christ saw the injustices of the world and he took action. He didn't just stand back and like post something on Facebook and was like, oh my gosh, I feel for you. You have my thoughts and prayers, and then went about his business. Jesus did everything he could to make this world a better place, not only for himself, but for all people everywhere. And he did this by healing the sick, feeding the hungry, clothing individuals, and loving them. And also pointing out hypocrisy, and also pointing out the ways in which systems and institutions did not serve everyone and only served a select few. So if we truly want to be spiritually minded, heart-centered, Christ-conscious individuals, then our plan does not stop at thoughts and prayers. God created us to be movers and shakers in this world, and we need to be movers and shakers. When something happens, yes, thoughts and prayers. And then what's next? What's our action plan? How can we help each other? How can we help this world? And so I don't want us to think that thoughts and prayers are terrible and don't work. I think thoughts and prayers are part of a multi-pronged strategy in bringing about a world that works for everyone. And so, yes, thoughts, because thoughts determine how we show up in this world. And yes, prayer, because prayer is energy. But it's not the end. So, thank you so much for being here. Feel free to offer your own comments about how you feel about thoughts and prayers, whether you agree, disagree. I love it all. And I hope you stay tuned for future 5-Minute Ministry Mondays. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm always looking for recommendations on topics too. So if you comment with something that you would like to hear me chat about, I would love that as well. I hope you have an incredible evening, and I'll see you next week.